Whether it's at the sportsbook or anywhere else in the casino, he's always helping us find an edge. It's time for Fezzik Fridays.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Fezzik. Say it with me. Only back-to-back winner of the Hilton Super Contest. I say it every week now because I know how much it pisses some people off that I keep saying it. So I keep saying it because apparently they're offended by this. Why are you so angry this morning?
I'm having a bad 24. It all started last night when I had Georgia State plus 6.5. And I've got the winner, and South Alabama's going to take 3 knees, kick the game-winning field goal, easy peasy, and I win. But, well, Georgia State lets them score, but so what? South Alabama will fall down on the 1 as sure as the sun comes up this morning, right? But no, they don't, because they've never watched a football game before. Them, their staff, or anybody on their defense.
That's right. Oh, brutal.
But
that's not the real reason you're upset, though.
So this morning, I got to cash some tickets over at the Westgate. I don't like going to the Westgate anymore because I don't really like that part of town. And they took away my easy peasy free parking where I just peel into the lot next to the sports book. Don't have to go ahead and scan my phone to get my parking.
Isn't the parking lot like 20 steps away from the door?
Sure, but you got to scan now. You got to pay for parking there now.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Shows you how long it's been since I've been there.
But no problem. It's free for locals, but it's not free because there's an opportunity cost, because now you got to go and get the little symbol and put it on your phone and register. So I'm like, screw it. All right, I'm coming on down Paradise. I'll just leave it at valet. The valet guys are super super cool. I come in at 7:30 a.m. I'm cashing hardly anything, 8,000 in tickets.
Are you for real? The Westgate is charging for parking?
To be fair, I think that the convention people, if they didn't charge, might spill over when there's a convention. But just like I said, Mr. Wynn know how to do everything right. Just copy. Yeah. Just have the same system. 3 hours free.
That's right.
Boom, you get your ticket in and out. Same as the airport. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
No, they've got to scan the app and spend the time. No problem. I'm in there. It's 7:30. And I go to the sports book. It's Friday. Surely they'll be open. No, they're not open till 8. I asked the gal, "Are you open?" She's like, 8 o'clock. This is the gal that doesn't like me. No, I said, "Can I cash at the cage?" She didn't offer that. She says, "Sure." I go to the cage. There's a big sign. If your tickets are less than 10,000, we can cash it after hours. Boom. We're good, right? No, we're not good, sir. Your ticket is locked because it's over 5,000. We can't cash it. I said, but it says 10,000. And they say, yes, but when the book's about to open, that trumps, the normal rules. You have to cash at the book. And I'm like, okay. So I go back to the book to cash it. And I said, cashier couldn't cash it. It's 7:55. All right. And I'm like, so I'm going to have to cash it here. And the gal's like, okay. And long story short, it's like Nick Saban when he's trying to check into the B&B, right? And check-in time's 3 o'clock. It's 2:55. I know.
Is this what he's doing now? Yeah.
Is he serious? Long story short, at 8:06, I looked at my phone. At 8:06, I had my money and I was out. It took 5 minutes and 48 seconds when I was there 5 minutes early. So it took, fine. They open at 8. At 8, by 8:06, I was out of the window. By contrast, at Circa, I just took out a $10,000 transaction and it took 33 seconds.
Yesterday, Steve, you were aware, as all of us were, about the FBI announcement of the NBA betting scandal, but the betting tentacle of it, the poker tentacle of it as well. You had some reaction to it?
Maybe not a unique take, but not consistent with the mainstream. I think there's way, way, way more nefarious things that go on in sports betting than anyone would ever admit. And I keep hearing about, and we used to talk about when Nevada was the only place that had that you could bet legally, how Vegas uncovers, all this these scams and these bet fixing stuff, and every single group that ever got caught could be on Dumb and Dumber. I mean, you got Arizona State, bettors that are they got their Arizona license plates. They've never made a bet before. They got their Arizona T-shirts, and they're walk into the sports book and they haven't made a bet in 10 years. And I like to bet $10,000 against my team.
This is the headache one. Headache was the guys that was.
Is that right? I mean, it's just for every scandal that's exposed like that. I mean, I can only tell you it would be, especially in the past, but I mean, but even more so now, it would be easy peasy for anyone who was connected to people who, bet all the time to bet 50,000 on something because like people like it wouldn't red flag anything because people do it all the time when they're scalping something that they find two lines that are apart and they'll lay 4 and take +6 and stuff and not even be able to name a player on the team. That it's just commonplace. And so I really think there's a whole lot. This is the tip of the iceberg.
It would be naive to think that they have found everything that's going on.
And everyone that gets caught is not just it's just a complete and utter dummy. I mean, think about like Crack came in with the bookie. Oh, I'm like booking bets for Ohtani's impersonator, and he just happens to bet multi-millions of dollars at Resort World with no income to justify it. I mean, it's like these people are going out of their way to, please find me. They spot what I'm doing that's illegal.
Do you find my Malik Beasley theory that yesterday I was just throwing around? I was like, who knows? Remember Malik Beasley of the Detroit Pistons, who was not named in anything yesterday. I sort of threw out, I was like, because we all text around and think about how easy it would be to pull this off because we actually know betting and how bumbleheaded most of these people are who are actually doing it. But I said yesterday, I was like, think about a guy like Malik Beasley. Maybe he was the smart one who realized, I probably shouldn't win every one of these. Maybe I should actually lose some of these because there was, stark movement to the under on some of his props. And then when the mainstream media first reported it, they didn't even go to look if they actually hit. No, he actually soared over his totals on those days. The most suspicious thing about Beasley was there was 5 seconds left in a game. His team was down 10, and he sprinted coast to coast.
Usain Bolt to the rack
to score a layup. And you're like, what was that? But yesterday I was like, well, I wonder if he's the smart one who figured out, I probably shouldn't be so obvious about this.
Well, and the most savvy gamblers, like let's say like tennis fixing, right? And so yes. And you're throwing matches, and I just happen to be playing Gil, and we've had a match like this where Gil's throwing the match also, and I just have to say, you know what?
Say what now?
I can't just have us double faulting back and forth all game. I'll eat it. I'll just win my match. It's like. And I'll lose my bet because he's tanking it. If we're both tanking, we're both going to get in horrible trouble. And the idea is, you don't have to win all your bets. You can win 60% of them. So if a lesser player, well, I always talk about the easiest way to do this would be a college basketball ref that would just say,
yes,
I'm going to call it. Lots of fouls or not very many fouls. Anyone gives me any flack, I'm teeing them up. I'm going to send them to the line, and it's going to probably increase scoring by 8 points or knock down scoring by 6 points. That's going to give any better a significant edge, but it's no lock that the game's going to go over or under, but it doesn't need to go over or under if you have a Confederate that's like recognizes this and says, just a really good bet, and it'll win 2/3 of the time, and we'll make bets like that. And you know what? Some of those bets are going to lose, and especially if the ref knows, oh, this bet's toast. I know my buddy bet over, and it's already over, so now I'm not going to like make ridiculous, nefarious calls to try to save this bet.
Refs in college basketball even lower paid. I was texting yesterday with Sean Patrick Griffin. You know who that is? Sean Patrick Griffin is the author of the 2011 book Gaming the Game. It was the Bible of the whole Tim Donaghy scandal. And I did a podcast. I interviewed him in 2011, right after the release of that book, and we've remained friends ever since. And Sean, I was like, "What's your reaction to all this?" And his very quick reaction was, that prop bets over a few months earning tens of thousands doesn't even come close to fixing dozens of game outcomes in each of 4 seasons in the Donaghy case. So I think you're right in terms of he would agree with what you're saying, which is the ultimate fix would still be from that perspective, the ultimate ease of fix.
And how does the NBA still allow Scott Foster to be like in the league and do these big name games? I mean, like the mere fact he like is buddies and texting like crazy, there's no proof that he was involved with anything. But the point is, it's just a bad look for the NBA to have him still in any prominent game.
That was another thing in this day and age of AI and people just putting out fake stories. There was one about Scott Foster yesterday. He was not named, just to be clear on all that. All right, let's sneak in a couple picks here in college football here before we go to break. What do you got this week?
Yeah, let's go Friday night. Let's have winners before dinner, right? I am on Virginia Tech against Cal. I aggregate all my sources, and we make this game significantly higher And specifically, we have Virginia Tech scoring a whole lot more points, so we're playing that game over 51. And then Boise, Nevada, my best totals guy makes this 56, so we're going to go over 51, Boise, Nevada.
You still going over in the Tech game also, the Vatech Cal game?
I am over 51.
Over 51 in that as
Yes.
well. And Virginia Tech minus the points.
Yeah, so the two late games over and Virginia Tech.
Okay. National Football League.
Yeah, let's go. The 49, you're 49ers, Gil.
I'm not a 49ers guy. I'm a Skins guy. Why does everybody think I'm a 49ers guy?
Because you're, lived in San Francisco.
I can't stand the 49ers.
I get it. Nico Collins is concussed and Houston has no offense, but San Francisco, at some point, these injuries are going to catch up to them. All the sharps are on Houston. I agree with that. So the favorite I'm on is on Houston. You can still get that at your local DraftKings at -1.5 if they still allow you to bet.
I'm not sharp. I'm on the Niners.
Ooh.
According to what you said.
Well, you can tease your Niners later.
What's the other quote unquote sharp play of the week?
The theme is injury this week. So Tampa, horribly injured. Mike Evans isn't going to get to 1,000 yards this year because he's done so for the year. And we're going to play the Saints +4. You can get +4.5 at DraftKings. Such a book, overall market perspective they give you. I just know they give you really good effing numbers that you should be betting.
Chris Heath on Twitter. I wouldn't want to use Nick Saban's hot tub anyways. Evan Klein. Vegas is truly losing its way when the Westgate is charging for parking. Impending financial collapse incoming. I didn't say that, Westgate. He did. Corbin. Thanks, guys. Now I'm going to head to my retail job where I only work with one other guy and the rest are women. And I'm going to be saying 40-year-old virgin quotes all day and saying, is Wayne Brainy going to have to explain where that comes from? Here's a question that somebody had for you earlier. About, did you end up going to Arizona and doing something with FanDuel, making a bet? Did you end up doing that?
This year?
No, like recently. I don't know what he was talking about specifically.
I did not. My most recent experience is I had a couple guys a few years ago. They set up accounts, and the thing was to get a VIP host and negotiate, the deposit bonus, and that was still going on. But unfortunately, that has really dried up.
Yeah.
You're no longer able to do that. I'll deposit $20,000 and get $5,000 in free bets. Yeah.
Last thing on the gambling scandal. Doesn't have to be, but I think it will be. So how do you think this falls out? Because I was talking about earlier on the show how, to me, just the mainstream media was just so embarrassing yesterday with some of the takes.
Ban gambling.
Yeah, the ban. So the props will get banned. Or ban all the props, whatever. Some people predicting it, some people saying that's what you should do, whatever. What do you think is the ultimate result?
I think there'll be a scaling back of the limits that are allowed with players and maybe somewhat of a more limited menu where, let's face it, if you've got information on one player, you can still put them in a same game parlay with 10 other options and the like. But the idea that someone could get down, tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars on something like think about a 3-point prop, over under 1.5 shots. In any 3-point, in any game, you could take 7 3-pointers or 3 3-pointers and try your very, very hardest because it's so often you're like, I could shoot this or I could pass the ball, right? And if you knew you were betting on you to make it, you just say, okay, I'm gonna chuck the ball up a little bit more. Nothing nefarious at all. You're just going to be a little more aggressive or a little less aggressive. I mean, you can't take big limits on bets like that. And we learned this from tennis. Someone who's ranked 112th in the world, I don't even know if they're a man or a woman when you give them to bet on because they're not making enough money to have any endorsements, and the only way they can eke out a living is to do something else on the side. And so we see. Think about how many betting scandals we've seen in tennis, and that's the tip of the iceberg. That's just the ones that are caught and discovered, which are usually the Dumbos. So if you have a player or a ref that's making $400,000 a year, there's a danger there.
Yeah. Tennis is in many ways harder to conceal than a team sport like basketball. You could absolutely go under the radar basketball in a way that you could. Tennis, you got to be really skilled to sort of hide it.
As an example, so one time I was playing Todd in a game to 21.
Oh, God.
Stevie 7, Todd 8. All right? Now, we all know that Wishnev dumped. All right? And there was a line on, what will be the score after the first the race to 7, right? Todd will never lose a race to 7 in the history of tennis against me, but he did on that day, right?
He did on that day. All right, so I started the show, as I do every time you're on, by saying, hey, only back-to-back winner of the Hilton Super Contest. How are you doing in contests this year, sir?
I would say I'd give myself a C-. All
Okay.
right. So let's start with the Circa Invitational. I know nothing about the NBA, and I managed to luck box my way to victory in that contest this year. I know much, much, much more about football, and I've done lousy in the Circa Invitational in prior years, and I'm doing lousy this year at 21 and 28. And, part of my conclusion is it shows how difficult it is, the format, because on Friday they open up the window for just 4 hours, and you got to play against the Circa Friday football lines. And I'll say it, you've got all these people in there that I truly believe many of them can win and could be pro bettors in that contest, but they're winning because they're getting, they're taking advantage of openers and soft lines and rogue lines. And now when they got to play against the big boy Circa late in the week on Friday, that is a very tough line to beat.
It is a calibrated line.
Yes.
Yes. So 21 and 28 in the VSiN Invitational.
Terrible.
Millions, how are you doing?
Millions is a mixed bag. I have 5 entries, and 3 of them are no good at all. But one of them has and it's been a rough time with if you're taking the value picks, where you're laying 2.5 on the lines, 3, etc. And we see that in the consensus picks are hitting at 35% for the year, the top 5 each week. But somehow, miraculously, I've walked my king across the chessboard through a hail of checks.
Wow.
And I am not checkmated yet. I am 22 and 13.
There you go.
And I make the case of, I've told people, I'm ahead of everybody that I fear. Everyone that I think that is like a Frank B in contest. Frank B is dead in this contest. I don't even have to ask him, because if he was taking all these good numbers, he's at 500 and I'm 22 and 13. So I am cautiously optimistic that there's a run to be had 5 games out.
Westgate College contest?
Mixed bag again. I've got 8 entries. I've got 1 entry that is currently, I believe, 11 above 500. That's in approximately 36th place. I think Bear is in 3rd place.
Bear's in 4th.
In
Chris is in 4th. Yeah,
he's doing great. But I'm somehow, despite starting 3 and 11, I have hit a hot streak. So I am back in it. But I still think my first 2 bad weeks are going to doom me. I'm in the money now, but I'm not in the money. The top 10 make it. I can make the money, but I still think that hard for me to believe I can come back from such a horrible start.
What about Survivor?
Survivor, 3 entries. I have 1 left, and I could be every week it's the same, Gil. How'd you do in Survivor this week? I'm rough week in Survivor. And who did you lose with? Oh no, I advanced, but everyone else advanced with crappy picks, and so now my entry, they say the imputed value is 4,400 for everybody. Yeah. Not for me. My picks were far less. Yeah. Although I do have Indy left, so I will go with Indy this week, minus 14.
But by the way, what you say. We talk about this many times, but it deserves repetition. Which is, while we say the implied value of each of the remaining entries is roughly $4,400 ish. Give or take a few bucks. I think give a few bucks, a little higher than that. That ultimately your path and what you have left really defines how much yours is worth. Dr. Ed Myers once did the first year of Survivor when there was 60 some left or 100 plus left. He power ranked the remaining entries based on what folks had left. By the way, I was power ranked 3rd out of 150 people, and I lost on a 17-point favorite. Right, so. That's only as good as the next result. But it is interesting, and it is also a reason why when we get to the bottom, for every was the poker player that refuses to chop just because he thinks he's the man.
Sean.
Right. Him. So
Golden Boy, whatever.
For every one of those guys, there are actually other people who will not chop based on the fact that they believe that their entry, the positioning of their entry, is better than the remaining entries positioning.
And the silliness
that's legit a little bit, right?
No. Yes, they're correct that it's worth more than the average. It's like a poker player at a final table. Let's say we all have the same chips and it's $1 million winner take all.
I know where you're going. It still doesn't mean that they should prevent a chop, right?
Yes. So give me $115,000. You guys chop the rest. You got to give me a little extra. I'm the pro.
That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. You say I got a better path. And the thing about the better path is that if everybody's entry is worth, on average, 4,200, the guys with the best path, their entry isn't worth 9,000. This might be worth 5,000. It's not that big a difference. The bottom line is the person with the best path left, if they had just money lined their Survivor picks to date, and with $1,000, it probably would have grown to 10,000 already. So they've been short paid to get this great path moving forward. And that's my criticism of playing really, really short favorites, or heaven forbid, underdog.
Oh my God! I thought you had a medical event there. For a second.
Underdog. Not good.
You're a pretty predictable Survivor player, though, so I'm guessing you're playing the Colts here?
I got the Colts this week, and I got the Rams next week. Lock me up, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, and hopefully everybody else loses.
Yeah, because no big favorite ever loses, Stevie. Never happens. No record of that in the National Football League. So
one thing that's interesting is Indy is laying 14. Indy's a really elite team, and they're playing the worst team in the league, the Titans. Everyone agrees.
Yeah.
By contrast, Kansas City's laying 13, almost the same, and they're playing Washington. Washington's, a very middle of the road team right now.
Be nice.
They're so much better. I mean, Washington could beat Kansas City.
Who do the Rams play next week that you've already got them locked?
I just know they're 11.5-point favorite. I haven't even looked.
Stop giving me the spread. Steve Fezzik making it's a $40 fine for you, Steve, violating.
Saints. They're playing the Saints.
Thank you. This is from Cheap Prop Bets. The so-called victims, quote-unquote, the sportsbooks in this whole thing, will try to use this scandal not to limit the number of props, but to push for one-way markets, he says.
Oh, yes.
Brandon Webb. I, for one, am getting a grim happiness hearing this news about the Jets. The more on Cincy, the merrier. I've learned my lesson backing them in Survivor. I'll be rooting for New York's backups to cause some carnage. Oh, and then thank you for this, the RGB. This is some clarification on the FanDuel thing in Arizona. He said he was referring to the comment. This was a listener, and the listener's name escapes me now, but he texted earlier about this, or he tweeted, pardon me, earlier about this, and of course now I'll forget his name and I won't get it. But anyway, it's about the fact that there's a promo running in Arizona at the stadium in Glendale. Have you heard about this?
Yes, I've heard about it, and you can do it more than once is the key. It's like $200
You can do it
daily.
once a day, but you can do it every day if you want. 100, any bet between $100 to $199, $100 free bet. Any bet 200 plus, $200 free bet.
And what they don't anticipate, and they should, is that literally there's going to be guys that are going to be bussing in homeless people to go into the stadium with them if they can go in for free and do this daily and take advantage.
Our immediate reaction was like, oh my God, does Steve Fezzik know about this? I would think that you would be over there every day doing this.
Well, if I lived there.
If you lived there.
100.
But you wouldn't, well, Glendale's too far. But I'm saying if it was right over the border, would you do it?
Well, yeah, my point of picking up a free play or something, if it's like $25 and it's within 10 miles of my house, I will find a way in my schedule to get my $25. Yes.
Did you do the Boomer Sportsbook $200?
Oh, of course.
Of course. You did that day one, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that's good to know that there's a miles, there's a scale for you, miles per dollar.
Well, opportunity cost, and I'm away. And what's this? Oh, I didn't get my Chargers minus 2.5.
What's this?
I didn't get my Chargers minus 2.5 or 3,000 because I was too busy picking up my $20 bill. It's like, there's negatives for being away from the office. Yes.
Steve comes in here and he talks about all kinds of random things. Real quick with the smash burger, what was your thought about the smash burger?
It's not so much the half pound you gain from eating it; it's the fact that you're going to crave it for the next 3 months if you have that most beautiful burger ever.
Smash burger. Right, you will.
Omaha steaks.
But you came in here and you talked about, I don't know how we talked. Somehow bowling came up.
Yeah.
And I said, you guess the numbers game regular guest that is most obsessed with bowling. And the answer to that question is Dr. Bob, whose dad was really serious about bowling. I used to go in San Francisco. When Bob was dating his now wife and I had an ex-girlfriend of mine, we would go bowling, and Bob would spend the entire time impressing the ladies with how as the degradation of the bowling lane goes throughout the rest of the day, you have to adjust the curve of your ball.
Your ball curves more when the oil wears down.
So what was your you have a bowling hack?
Yeah, and I'm going to incorporate this into a life hack that you can use this in multiple ways, and I'll explain why. But when it comes to bowling, bowling's fun. Bowling, you can't break. In Ordinary People, the movie, the great thing about bowling is you can't break anything. Can't break the ball. Can't break the pins. It's all going to work. But the beauty in bowling is that when you're a novice, you can't make the ball hook enough. And to get strikes, you really need a big hook, to get lots of strikes. So start bowling two-handed. It's so much fun. All right, so just take you don't even have to put your fingers into the holes. You can if you want. And just pull it back. I'm not an expert. And boom, and you throw it. And the revolution of the ball will naturally create a fantastic curve. And so now bowling becomes so much fun because you're going to get way more strikes if you can hit the pocket. If you miss the pocket, you're going to get way more splits. And these really, you're going to get the Greek church. You're going to get like all kinds of weird splits that you can get to try to pick up. You're not going to score very well necessarily, but you'll have some spectacularly good games because you'll get multiple strikes in a row. But it's just so much more fun. And the life lesson here is we're taught, be careful, optimize your score. Like when you play tennis, put the ball in play. When you play golf, aim for the middle of the green, lay up, and the truth is, who cares about what your score is? Have fun when it comes to those sort of events. So go for the pin in golf. When you're playing tennis, go to try to rush the net and try to hit a smash ball against Gil. Yeah, I'm going to lose most of the time when I do it, but the 1 out of 5 times I execute it successfully, make that 1 out of 10. It's so much fun when you're playing chess. Try to checkmate your opponent. Point your pieces out as king. Have fun with it. Play romantic style in these games. It's so much more fun.
Steve Fezzik, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you gave some football plays earlier, pro and college. Let's talk about the World Series. World Series starts tonight. Game 1 between the Jays and the Dodgers at Toronto tonight for Game 1.
I am so out on the media experts. I have heard this question 10 times. They're like, okay, World Series odds. The Dodgers are minus 250. Toronto's plus 210. What do you think? What do you like? And inevitably, almost every expert says, I like the Dodgers. I like the Blue Jays. I lean Dodgers. I lean Blue Jays. No, wrong.
Oh, man.
Every answer wrong.
Wow. He's angry. We wish you were on camera for
the
that.
market is mightier than all of these experts that don't even bet 90% of them, all right? Or they bet $10, all right? Here's the point. Here's the right number. The right number is Dodgers minus 230 and Toronto plus 230. That's the correct number. And if I can get the Dodgers at less than minus 230, that's probably worthy of investment. If I can get Toronto above plus 230, that's worthy. Now people say, but Fezzik, you can't get any of those numbers. That's right. The books are just printing money on one of these standalone games. This is where you have to have Profit X. You have to have an exchange. You've got to be able to play where the bid-ask differential is a penny apart or a few cents apart, and there's a 1% commission. God couldn't win playing into a minus 250 plus 210 event like this that is having multi-millions of dollars being bet upon it.
Hashem just heard that. That's going to be bad for you in the coming days.
Hashem, this Todd Wishneb believes Hashem, the god or goddess of unluckiness, is like they have the ball on the 2-yard line, the game's tied, and you've got the dog plus 6.5. But Hashem will score a touchdown and make the extra point per Todd Wishneb.
I want to go back to something you said here and something you said. Well, you didn't actually say it this way, but you texted this about the football picks, which is, and you correct me if I'm characterizing you incorrectly. You are a market guy. You are a market truther, if you will. You believe in the power of the market. So with your 2 football plays of the Texans and the Saints going up against the injured Niners and Buccaneers, respectively, you're like, these are the obvious right sides of the week. You said that in text. You
right
said
now, at this point in time.
At this point in time.
Yes.
Okay. You never make that distinction. So, and then in baseball, what you're saying is, listen, the market knows these numbers, right? You have to make the distinction. If you get it at this number, or if you get it at this number, then it's a good bet. Otherwise, it's not. The way that Todd and I always, and I'll say it a different way that makes a little more sense, which is how Todd and I characterize it. I make fun of you of being sort of a robot, right? I don't know if you know this, that I make fun of you. I make fun of you to your face, so hopefully you do. But what I'm really saying is that you're actually the smart one, right? And Todd will co-sign on this, that you're actually the smart one for having that market respect. Whereas people like me and Todd, we'll raise our hands, we actually have the audacity to think we have opinions, right? That more often than not would trump what the market is saying. Now, that's not a blanket, right? I feel like in tennis, I'm better off doing it that way, but I'm probably dumb doing it in other sports,
well,
right?
And I would argue that tennis is not nearly as efficient a market.
That's
all
correct.
Right? It's a semi-efficient market that most of the lines are correct because you can't bet $1 million on a tennis match,
right?
And preserve the line like you can in the NFL.
But within that sort of discourse, though, people love, so when you say things with superlatives like, these are the correct sides, people love it when then you appear to be wrong.
Exactly.
Right?
Toronto could sweep the Dodgers. It's within the Reds swept the A's. in the 1990 World
That's
Series.
right.
All right?
That's right.
It doesn't mean the Dodgers shouldn't have been, it probably does mean that they shouldn't have been minus 250. It's always easier after I get to watch the Denver-Seattle Super Bowl and like, oh, Seattle should have been a big favorite in that game. Or if I get to watch, Mahomes get rolled by Tampa Bay. Oh, wrong team was favored in that Super Bowl. If I get in my time machine to get to watch the game, but that information's not widely available before the game starts.
Yeah. I'm just saying that the way that you are so confident in your respect for the market, the way that you word things sometimes gives entree for people to be overjoyous when you're wrong just by the way that you say it, when in fact your way of doing it probably over the long term is really the correct way of doing it.
Exactly. But you know what? If Michael Porter's supposed to make 2.5 3-pointers, probably that's a bad number if somebody's going to know a lot more than I do on certain things.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at zero cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.